Alright guys, what is up? Sean Ames here from Heart of America FPV. Once again, I'm here at the dirty desk. That sounds pretty good. I like the way that sounds, the dirty desk. Just a bunch of crap here I gotta clean up real quick. The reason I'm checking in today is just another follow-up. Let's see, I'm somewhere around a week into this whole Lightning flight controller thing from Flightone. Still going really well. I've yet to break one flying. I have one where the OSD gets a little glitchy sometime. I think there might be some grass on the OSD chip or something, but in general, it's serving me super duper well. Flies great. Hands down, it still has the best feature set available on a flight controller. Out of the gate, they had some issues with heat. I think I was one of the first to notice it on one of my builds here on the desk. I always use this 12-volt power supply. This is like a laptop power supply that I put an XT60 on. It's like 200 watts, just 12 volts. So to be honest, I don't recommend this, but I would plug in quads sometimes with the props on, because if the props spin up, you go past like 10% throttle, the power supply can't handle it and shuts it off. So anyway, but I would have quads plugged in, and I'd be working on configuring it for Flightone, which doesn't take a lot of time. You're done in like 3 minutes. But if I kind of spent a little bit of extra time in the OSD, I would notice that the quad would eventually shut off, and that was pretty problematic. So Flightone have released a update to the firmware that totally fixes that. I've yet to have a quad reset now due to heat since they've done that update. The other thing they did is they updated their firmware for team racing. When you're in the setup for Flightone now, at the very end of the setup, it asks you if you want to set up a power switch on your VTX or not, and lets you do that right there, which is pretty awesome. But additionally, they've got drone enable working right now, to where if the drone is not enabled, the video will not turn back on. So essentially, I'll do a video later getting into the details of setting up for team racing, but now hands down, Flightone is the easiest software to set up for team racing. So that's super cool. But the reason for this video is I wanted to share with you the #1 thing that I'm most excited about with the new flight controller. Apparently PG3, Preston Garrison's son, put in some work in the code to get something working, and this is going to blow your mind, guys. So to get this to work right, you must plug in power via the XT60 first. Once it's booted up, then you plug in your USB cable to the software. All right, so switch to a different screen here. If you haven't seen this, when you plug in your H7 flight controller now, it brings up this USB drive. And the neat thing about this is there's this firmware folder. And if you want to update the firmware, you go to the site, you download it, you literally just copy and paste the new firmware file into this folder. So you can see here, I've got, this is the one that it came with. This is one that I'd updated along the way. And then this is the most recent that I've pasted in here. I put in here yesterday, actually. You literally just paste the firmware in that folder, and it automatically updates the firmware on the flight controller. So yeah, you don't even need a configurator anymore, which is incredible. But we'll exit out of that. But this is what I want to show you. If you've been with Flightone for any amount of time, you know that this right here has always been a big deal. This is the BLHeli 32 suite, how you change your ESC settings. And before, with Flightone, if you wanted to change your ESC settings, then you actually have to go in here and flash beta flight. That's why I have the configurator right there. You'd have to flash beta flight to your Flightone flight controller. But now, thanks to some nifty code work from Preston's son, PG3, when you hit read setup, it reads the setup. Now, if you're curious, these are the ESC settings I'm running. I actually want to do a little bit of testing here. So I'm going to put my PWM frequency on this quad up at 48K. I'm going to leave DMAG on high, and let's write that setup. And I have literally just updated the ESC settings on my ESC using a Flightone flight controller with Falco Flash to it. So that's it. I just wanted to show you guys that. So the trick to get that to work, because I have had some issues with it along the way, the trick to get that to work is to plug in your XT60 first and then plug in the USB. And it has worked for me 5 out of 5 times now. So guys, I hope that's helpful for you. Thanks for checking this out. We'll catch you next time on Heart of America FPV. Later.